We're now beginning at the start of the third part of this series on the Sunset Crater. We're still climbing the mountain here after we left off on part 2. And the background there, just behind the trees, right there in the center of the screen, that is the Sunset Crater volcano right there. We'll get a better view of it here as we come around the curve. It looks sort of like a saddle. See how it's got like two horns on both ends there? At one time, that used to be just a straight up mountain with a peak. And when the volcano erupted, it blew the top right off it. And what you ended up with is that looks like a saddle, but it's actually a crater inside of there. We were just seeing the sort of the edge of it from this perspective. We'll come around the curve, you get another good view of it. You see up at the top there, it's kind of that black color. Then if you look at the side of the road, on the right-hand side of the road, you see the same black coloring. What that is basically the material that was ejected. Everything on that you see there on the right-hand side of the road, that black, that was all volcanic material. It's what's called cinders. And it's just basically small volcanic rocks, and it just got sprayed out everywhere for, I don't know, probably 5-6 miles, maybe even more. As we come up here, we're going to hit the crest of this hill, and this is pretty much the peak of this park, of this national monument. Because from here, it all pretty much goes down toward the hill, down toward Highway 89. We're going to pull into right here. This is supposed to be the Sunset Crater Vista. I wasn't really impressed when I saw it. If you're going to be there, I would suggest go ahead and pull into it and just take a look at it. It is kind of cool because you do get a view of the desert off in the background that we just left a little bit ago. But in terms of getting a good view of the volcano, I wasn't impressed. The best view of the volcano was actually the view we just had as we drove up that road there. And as if you look off in the very far distance there, that brown, that's the desert down there. They call that the Painted Desert. And then from there, we left that area and we went into the actual lava flows that came off the volcano. So we're now on the south side of the volcano. The volcano would be behind us from this perspective. There's all the lava flow that came off of there. Of course, now this happened about 1,000 to 2,000 years ago, that these volcanoes in this area erupted. And all that black, it's not soil, it's just rock. It's very small, fine-grained rock, pebbles. The volcano there is on your left-hand side of the screen, but we're looking at it from the south side. That's the crater. You're looking up. If you got up over the top of that, up in there to go back down inside into the crater. And I'm continuing to walk along here now along the lava flow that's fairly close to the volcano. And one of the things that I noticed was, look at all the shrubs and the bushes and the trees that are growing up right to those rocks, right to the volcanic lava. There's no soil in there, but I guess the rocks and whatnot, there's plenty of minerals and nutrients inside. And these trees couldn't be more than 10 to 15 years old. Look at the poplar trees, the young little poplar trees with the leaves on them coming up too. It was still really windy when I was filming this. And of course, I had a lot of issues with the GoPro not working properly. So that was sort of an issue. I'm going to have a long talk with GoPro. Get that sorted out. It works just fine if I use an external mic, but if I use the built-in mic, it just doesn't seem to work. Now see up on the rim there, up on the edge, you can actually, that's actually where you start this tour. You walk right up here where this bridge is. You look back down on where we just came from. So you're down there in that lava pit. And the trail is pretty easy. It's not paved, obviously, but it's fairly easy to get down there. And then from here, I went over to the other side of the lava flow. This is an extension of the first one. Where you see the trees in the far background, the lava flow, that's basically where it stopped. This is some native wildflowers that are right there in bloom at this time of the year. It's called Apache something. I can't remember the name of it. Apache willows or something. And further off in the distance is another lava flow that we can actually get into it, continue to cross that road. Obviously, they built the road just in the last 50 years or so, so they sort of cut through it. But we'll get in the Jeep at this point, and we'll make our way across to the other area. Jeep is outfitted desert fashion, 2 spare tires and a bike. Pretty much everything you need to survive. I could build a small village with the tools inside of that Jeep. Now this is the part of the lava flow where you can actually go into the lava flow. They have a trail inside there. The lava itself is very sharp, and if you brush up against it, it could scrape you or cut you. In this area, the lava was more of a brownish color, whereas the other area was more sort of a black and gray. But it's extremely lightweight. It's hollow, or it's very porous, I think is a proper term for it. Again, look at the trees growing up in it. Right up to the rocks. And it's not really rocks, it's just lava flow that just froze, or not froze, but cooled in position. See the tree coming up? Right to the lava. Of course, that tree's probably 40 years old, 50 years old maybe. There's no soil down there. Just pine cones and rubbish, maybe some dust and such, but no real soil. Now, if we look off in the distance, the lava flow there continues for about another 1.5 miles to 2 miles. Now, that's the main trail. But what most people don't realize is just a few feet further away is the actual lava edge trail. And very few people actually take this. You can use walking sticks if you want, but you can't bring a bicycle out here, or any kind of motorized vehicle like a scooter.
Here's a perfect example. You can actually see underground. Here's a pine tree growing up through the lava. And you say, where are the roots? Well, you come over here. Here they are. Here's the roots of the tree. There's the roots of the tree. They continue on, just pushing their way through the rocks. Here's another close-up example of the porous nature, all the holes in these lava rocks. That's what makes it sound hollow when you tap it. Here. Makes it sound hollow. This right here is the end of the lava field. If we continue further on, we end up at the campground. So if we go over here, although you can't really see it, we're looking back toward the beginning of the lava field and the volcano. Well, the volcano itself is back through those trees, probably about 4 or 5 miles. And here's the end of the flow. This is as far as it made it. Let's take a trip back through the entrance, and I'll take you a trip through the parking lot of the campground area too. Now, if you didn't listen to me and you came in the main entrance, you'd either be having to show your national park pass right here, or you'd have to pay $15 to get in. Now, this right here is the Bonito National Forest Campground. There's no electricity. There's no water at the campsite. You have to bring your own. And for the low price of $26 for the first vehicle and $8 for the second vehicle, you can stay here. Whether you bring a tent or a trailer or a motorhome, it doesn't matter. There's no showers. They have a pit toilet, men's and women's. Each campsite has got a concrete picnic table, a fire pit, and a charcoal grill. And you have a map, you can see that about 5 miles away you can park in the national forest for free with essentially the same conditions. And if you catch my next episode, Escape to Hidden Mesa, I'll show you where some of the free campsites are, where you can stay for up to 14 days. You don't have to check in. You don't have to pay anything. But there is no trash removal. You have to take all your trash out. There's There's no water hookups, there's no electricity. So you're pretty much self-contained, but it's essentially the same thing as this. If you bring your own charcoal grill, your own table, your own chairs, and you have your own toilet, well, you pretty much have the same situation that you have right here in this campground. Only you get it for free, and you don't have any neighbors. I hope you enjoyed the trip to the Sunset Crater and the Wupatki National Monuments. Join me on the next episode, coming out in a few days.